This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
Hey, previously on Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels, stuff happened. I think the most important training an apprentice can receive from a master is during recess. How else is an apprentice going to find a path to the dark slide?
You almost left me speechless there.
Yeah, I may be just a humble CPA with a master's in business administration, emphasis in finance, and so know little of these things.
I think you made your point.
Leku?
I think you made your point. Yeah, androids, that D-Squad thing.
Yeah, the D-Squad.
Clone Wars.
Yeah, but it's different.
Gascon or something?
Yeah. Meebus, Meebus something or other? Yeah.
Right. Well, I think you made your point.
Greetings, Scoundrels. This is Jay Krebs from Coffee with Kenobi. You can find my blogs there as well as my review of Star Wars fashion called Core World's Couture. You're listening to Darth Taxus on Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels.
Last month, we began the Scoundrels Summer Book Club with Darth Bane, Path of Destruction, the first novel in the Darth Bane trilogy. This month, the story continues with Rule of Two.
Well, for me, this book seemed like the second act, obviously, in the trilogy, and it was really Xana focused for me.
Yeah, I thought that the entire story was kind of a lesson in parallel growth between the two of the main characters, Bane and Xana, of course.
I think the first novel was mainly about the whole Bane figuring out why the Sith needed to be destroyed, and this novel was what the Sith need to now be.
Yeah, Dennis, last show, we really kind of, had the curse hit us, didn't we? With the whole Ron Howard announcement.
Yeah, but that's we essentially recorded 2 episodes within 4 days.
Yeah.
And we had to, we were going on vacation.
Yeah, it hurts to miss that one.
Yeah. I don't know how much interesting it is watching someone read something, but
and go over the top.
Oh, you had to read.
So I had.
Oh, you had to read.
No. You have to trust me because my goal is to eventually kill you.
Okay, you are still the master I need. I am not ready to take the mantle of master.
The master.
Evil.
Hi. Scoundrels, so much great Star Wars news has come out and we're really excited. San Diego Comic-Con brought us exciting information about books, comics, action figures, and movies. We'll discuss these stories in this week's news.
What's wrong with your voice, Dennis?
What really happened behind the scenes with the Han Solo director changeup? We have an embedded informant who supposedly witnessed the whole story and is here to bravely report it to the Scoundrels.
Are you feeling okay?
In our first hypothetical, we discuss the new apparel lines targeting Star Wars from her universe and The Last Jedi sizzle reel, both revealed at San Diego Comic-Con.
Did you miss your treatment again?
Then Dennis and Taxus speak with Rich and Sarah Wolofsky of Skywalking Through Neverland about their experiences at Disney's D23 Expo.
Wait, this is a joke, isn't it?
You may recall friends of the show Galactic Empire from our 4th episode. Taxus caught up with the Dark Lords of Metal on their tour and is eager to share his tale.
Okay, joke's over. This isn't funny anymore. Trust me, I know when something's not funny. Yet I keep trying.
Of course, we always like hearing from the Scoundrels. As always, we get to your feedback in Silence Fools.
Okay, stop it. You're scaring me.
Where is Dennis? We'll find out on this episode of Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels.
You're not Dennis. It's nice to be back in my old, comfortable show format. Wait, what are you doing?
Oh, there's a lot to fix up around here.
What do you mean there's a lot to fix up around here?
Your show is just so disorganized and it really needs a cleaning.
No, it doesn't. Hey, that's supposed to stay there.
It's a dirty cereal bowl. Look at all the audio files I found under it.
I know, it was holding them down.
Well, there's a lot more that can be done to improve this place. Like some curtains, for example.
The blinds are just fine. And what's all this?
Added some throw pillows.
Well, throw them out. I can't find a place to sit down. What's that smell?
Eau de toilette.
Oh, de humanity. Look, I appreciate the show makeover, but really this isn't needed. At least don't get that scent on my robe. What?
What's wrong?
My robe! It's been bedazzled!
That wasn't me. I don't bedazzle.
Oh, here's a note. Taxus, hope you like it. Dennis. I should have never gotten him the C-3PO bedazzler kit for Sithmas. Look, I'm missing a lot of stuff here. Where's my death ray?
That old dusty thing? I donated it to an orphanage.
It's a death ray! What in Bogan's bootlegged bomb shelters are they going to use that for?
Well, I got a receipt. You should appreciate that for a tax deduction.
Ugh, fair market value has been low on those for a while. Okay, where's my display of unusual mannequin hands?
Donated them to the Skywalker Memorial Prosthetic Hand Ward at the hospital.
But they were unusual.
I thought they'd think they were handy. Plus, now you have room for the Forces of Destiny dolls to watch you while you sleep. What'd you need a bunch of mannequin hands for anyway?
How else am I going to practice? Nothing. Good galaxy to you, scoundrels. You've returned to the podcast that can't claim to be the happiest place on Earth, but you'll get a general feeling of warmth in certain extremities that can't be duplicated unless you visit a radiologist. I'm your mildly confused leader of the dark side,
Darth Taxus.
coming to you from the newly established Bucky's Travel Center on my flagship, the Assessor Collector. And with me, not as always, but getting ever closer, is my co-host and one who brings the show's average way up in the looks department, not Dennis the Phantom Menace Keithley, but Jay the Hut Jayer Krebs. Jay?
Hey, wow, that was quite the introduction there. Thank you very much. And yeah, it's great to be back once again. This is definitely getting to be a very common occurrence with us, isn't it?
Yeah, very odd. You're like the fifth Beatle, third Scoundrel kind
Something
of thing,
like
right?
that.
Like
Getting
Pete
to be
Best or something.
Like Three's Company or something around here.
That's right. Huh, that gives me an idea for later. But So, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Been doing really good. Just got back from a vacation, little short trip with the family out to New York City last week. So that was a lot of fun. It was a
cool.
late birthday trip. So we got to go to the Disney store in downtown. I got to meet up with John and Marie Macias real quick and we exchanged some goodies. So that was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Back here and ready to do some fun stuff with you.
How neat. Yeah, I heard you on Coffee with Kenobi a little while ago. That was excellent work. And Dan Zare hailed you as one of the best voices in podcasts.
Boy, I'm telling you what, that was a very, very high compliment and one that made me smile from ear to ear, especially coming from Dan, because, you know, he's like my boss over there. So it's always nice to get a good marks from your boss.
Yes, it is.
And it was a lot of fun, too. We talked about the Forces of Destiny shorts and among other things. So it was a great time. Sometimes
it's good to get bad marks from your boss, too.
Yeah, a little bit of motivation. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was talking about. So anyway, scoundrels, you might be wondering where Dennis is. And you might be saying to yourself, has Dennis left us alone again on yet another vacation or self-indulgent interest? Well, I wouldn't say that. You might, scoundrels. And the answer is yes, he has. He's left us to go to an archery tournament. And we think that short of practicing his skills on a target, he might have acquired a taste for hunting Porg.
Oh, Porg!
Oh, yes. Well, you know, they are the other dark meat.
Ah,
you know, so.
I hear they're white meat, though. They're birds.
Are they? I thought they were hamsters.
Maybe somewhere in between. Who knows? We'll find out, right?
Maybe they're hamburgers. Hamburgers.
Da-dum-dum.
So, in honor of Dennis not being here and me basically being able to say whatever I want, and he'll probably say, wow, I can't believe you said all that when I wasn't there. Jay, we've prepared a couple of special things for him, right, in tribute?
We absolutely have.
I mean, he is the face of the anti-Porg movement, right?
Yep, that's what seems to be going around on Twitter these days. And of course, you know, whatever's on Twitter, you can believe, right?
That's right. He might protest and say he's not the face, but I don't know. I think he's the poster child. So what have we got? What have we got for him?
Well, I think we have a couple of pieces of poetry, actually. There's been a actual trend of hashtag Porg poem out there on Twitter. So I've prepared a little something. How about you?
Well, sure, as long as it's not pornographic.
Nothing like that. This is a family show. Come on.
Okay, all right. Well, let's hear it.
All right, well, here's mine in my best poetry voice. Porgs are kind of like puffins, almost as small as a muffin. Cute as can be, even to me, who'd surely buy one full of stuffin'. What do you think?
Wonderful.
Snaps?
Oh, snaps.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
How about yours?
Here's mine. There once was a Porg on Octu who told Luke what he must do. When Luke looked all around and only saw ground and really had to go number 2.
And God bless you, by the way, for that Octu.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, that's our little Porg fun. Until you're waiting for our rendition of Porgy and Bess, I guess we should maybe get on with the show.
I think we should. So yeah, on with the show. Let's get to some news. There's a ton of news that's come out, so let's get going. Taxus, what do we have up first?
Well, first on the list is the newly revealed Forces of Destiny line from Hasbro, which spotlights some of the Star Wars saga superstars. The figures are described as a hybrid of action figures and dress-up dolls. Measuring in at about 11 inches tall, the figures feature posable joints and come with accessories. Some of the costume parts are painted, while others have removable cloth items, allowing for a true dress-up experience. Available characters in the line include Rey, Sabine, Ahsoka, Padme, Jyn, and 2 different versions of Leia. The dolls have a suggested retail price at $19.99 for single figures and $24.99 for the Adventure Figure and Friends collection, which includes companions such as R2-D2 for Leia and a Tuca doll for Ahsoka, and BB-8 for Rey. Princess Leia also has a special set called Endor Adventure, which includes Wicket. Another fun addition to the line besides dolls is an extendable Rey staff for pretend play. The figures are already making their way on store shelves nationwide. If you haven't seen the series, you can check out all of the current episodes of Forces of Destiny on YouTube. And Jay, I don't know about you, but these dolls are adorable and sort of creep me out at the same time.
Well, it's a great thing because for so long, of course, I always played with action figures as a kid, and I still played with action figures when my boys were little. But this is something that, obviously with Forces of Destiny, it's kind of marketed a little bit more towards the female audience, with the female characters and everything like that. So it's nice for little girls to have a full-size doll that they can, have adventures with and dress up with. I've even seen some things where, as far as like the hair goes, they were really careful about making sure that the hair was something that could be styled.
Cool.
And not just, slapped on there as an action figure. So that's really cool.
Well, as a father of 2 girls, I really wish something like this was out when they were much younger, because I think they would have been all over it, especially the little BB-8 and the little R2. That would have been great.
Absolutely.
This kind of reminds
love droids.
Oh, right, exactly. Well, this kind of reminds me when I was a child and I used to go spend summers up in my grandmother's home, and they lived in an old farmhouse. And upstairs there was a long hallway with no doors on it, on any of the rooms, just like like curtains or something. And for some reason, I always had to sleep in the room that had her antique China doll collection. It was a very...
Did it kind of freak you out, like seeing the faces and...
Only when they began to whisper to me at night.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, I can see that.
That's the only part that freaked me out.
A little creepy. One thing I did, getting back to these dolls, that I did notice is a lot of them, the faces... And this is just me being critical, I guess, but the faces all look a lot like Barbie to me. The only ones that really look different, Sabine looks a little bit different, but overall, Padme, Rey, Jyn, they all kind of have the same face. So there's been some talk that there may possibly be a Hera that's coming out.
Ooh.
And one of the things that, there you go, Leku.
Posable Leku.
Posable Leku, absolutely. But one of the things that has held Hasbro up from releasing the Hera figure that was supposedly coming out is the color of green. They said, you wouldn't think that it would be that difficult to get the color right, but it is.
Right.
So as soon as they get that color right, I think we'll see more of that. But
a long time ago, I recommended they take all the surplus Greedos and just melt them down.
I don't know if that's the right color green, though. I don't know. Might be a little close. But
you can mix them in with all the surplus Constable Zuvios.
Yeah, there's plenty of those. Yeah. I'm sure. So. But, August 1st is when they're supposed to be available. But, like you said, they are starting to make their way on the shelves. Yep. So Target, I know, is selling them. If you kind of sweet talk the manager, even though they're not supposed to be sold yet, you might get them to sell them to you. I know Toys R Us are starting to sell them, but the staff looks really cool because it's expandable. Yeah. So, it's kind of the answer to the lightsaber, which is kind of neat. So
that's cool. And I know how to sweet talk managers, let me tell you what. So what do we got next?
Well, next up, we've already been talking about Porgs, so this is a great lead-in. So, thanks to behind-the-scene footage that was presented at D23 for The Last Jedi, fandom has been introduced to these lovable little creatures known as a Porg, looking perhaps, a little to me like a miniature cross between an Ewok and Jabba the Hutt. You see that? Porgs are actually an avian species. So like I was saying, they're a bird native to the planet Ahch-To and dwell on the cliff faces where Luke and Rey will be seen. According to Lucasfilm Story Group's Pablo Hidalgo, our boss, Porgs are Star Wars version of a puffin. They build nests, they can fly, their babies are called porglets, and they've definitely taken over the Star Wars interwebs. And there's even a Lucasfilm Press young reader book being released entitled Chewie and the Porgs, written by Kevin Shinnick and illustrated by Fiona Hesse. This book promises to be a big hit with fans of all ages. And every time I hear that title, Chewie and the Porgs, I want to sing Benny and the Jets.
I know.
Chewie and the Porgs.
Well, I was going to say, that sounds like the sequel to like Ricky and the Flash. So, Oh,
yeah. There's that too. Absolutely.
So, okay. Yeah. The Porgs. It's interesting. Everybody went really nuts about this, and it kind of overshadowed a little bit everything else, didn't it?
Yeah, and there's other creatures too. And when we get to the sizzle reel, there's a couple of those other creatures that I think have kind of gotten the cold shoulder that I'd love to hear a little bit more about, but we'll save that.
Yeah, everybody, I expect we'll probably see plushies.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it's just weird that they don't have beaks. I mean,
being a bird, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be a puffin, and don't puffins have like huge beaks?
Yes, they do.
So I'm not quite sure where that whole thing comes in.
Well, I was getting at it's imaginative. It's interesting. Instead of trying to make something more, like this will be a giant space dragon, but but it'll have arms. Yeah, right. and a caterpillar track, and you know what I mean? Now they're just saying, let's take a basic concept for a creature and let's remove something. And just by pulling something away makes it look completely different and alien. Right. It does look alien, very much so.
Right.
But,
well, the first thing I thought was penguin.
Oh, yeah. Quack, 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 quack.
So,
Batman.
And penguins are still avian. They're birds. So.
Yeah. They're birds. Everybody makes fun of them because they can't fly, but, in the bird world, But
Porgs can fly, says Pablo Hidalgo. So there you go.
Ooh, you hear that, Dennis? You should take up skeet shooting. All right. Well, since we're on the subject of books, there are a lot of upcoming Star Wars titles to be excited about, and there's something for every domain of Star Wars. Many of these titles are part of the Journey to Star Wars The Last Jedi lineup. Here are just a few of the titles that have captured our attention. The first is Leia, Princess of Alderaan, written by Claudia Gray. Many know this author from the epic book Lost Stars. This is set on the eve of Leia's 16th birthday, and the tale dives into her decision to become part of the rebellion. According to Gray, Bria and Bail Organa are heavily featured as shown through their daughter's eyes. The book is set to be released September 1st. After that, we've got Phasma by Delilah S. Dawson. The author of Bounty Hunter Bazine Natal's story, The Perfect Weapon, pens this novel for our favorite shiny commander. The story is said to cut between the present and the past and describes the events that led Phasma to the First Order and her journey to becoming the warrior she is. September 1st is also the release date for this one. After that, we've got Canto Bight. Written by John Jackson Miller of Kenobi and A New Dawn, as well as co-writers Saladin Ahmed and Ray Carson. This book is said to be a collection of 4 short stories focusing on the adventures of the beings of the epic-scale Cantina. This work will be available December 5th. The Legends of Luke Skywalker by Ken Liu rounds it up and is said to explore stories about Luke and what he went through between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. According to Michael Siglin, creative director of Lucasfilm Publishing, this book goes into stories and legends of Luke Skywalker. Are they true? Well, maybe, maybe not. This title will be available on October 31st. And I feel like some of this should be required reading in literature class now, you know. I don't know. Just suggesting. Also, Canto Bight. Man, that just still sounds like a crazy Japanese snack food. You know?
Well, my oldest son would know. He's like all about Japanese culture. So I haven't seen that one yet. Maybe it's next to the matcha and the wasabi. Who knows?
And the shrimp chips.
Yeah,
don't forget the
absolutely.
shrimp chips. I love shrimp chips.
I'm actually really excited about that one.
Yeah.
Because it's so different from anything that we've seen. And I don't know about you, but the whole image of Canto Bight from what we've seen so far, just, it kind of reminds me, have you ever seen Hunger Games?
Yes.
So it almost reminds me of everyone in District 1.
Yeah, the capital city. Or
yeah,
District
the
1?
capital.
Okay, the capital. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, you expect to see Caesar Flickerman, you know. But, yeah, I'm pretty enamored by that one. Now, have you read or started reading Battlefront 2, Infernal Squad?
No, I know Dennis started up on that, and I'm in the middle of reading the 3rd book in the Bane trilogy. So
as you should be.
I was going to finish that off first. And
right. Yep. Same here. Yeah. I did hear though that Janina Gavankar, who is actually the Commander Iden Versio in the Battlefront game, is voicing the audiobook.
Oh, cool.
So that kind of gets me. I think that would be really cool to listen to.
Yeah,
that might be my next audiobook. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, and you know, in the last journey to The Force Awakens, there was just so much to read. I just didn't have time to digest it all. And so if I had to hunt this, if I had to really focus in on this, okay, this might be a hot space opinion, and I'm sorry in advance, but not sorry. I'm kind of getting laid out. I'm sorry.
I can see that. No. You are totally entitled to that opinion.
Just a little bit. Please send all hate mail to @DJKVER too.
Duck says tomatoes are thrown your way.
But no. So, I mean, I'm probably going to just, let people tell me about that one. But John Jackson Miller is one of my most favoritist authors. And he just thinks so well in the Star Wars universe. So and plus this kind of reminds me of a little bit like the Tales of the Mos Eisley Cantina, something like that. And then the Legends of Luke Skywalker. I'm fascinated by this too, because this is going to be sort of like a Canterbury Tales in space.
Right. Yes, I did see that too. Yeah. And I guess it's, more for the people that are maybe casual fans or kids who are, their only experience with Luke has maybe been from The Force Awakens and they saw him for 2 seconds and he didn't say anything. So there's all these, legends of, what's true, what's not. And, like you said, and I guess we're going to find out. But yeah. So are you ready to go on to some more news items?
Yeah.
Well, this just in, composer John Powell has been chosen to score the music for the upcoming untitled Han Solo film. Powell originally worked as part of Hans Zimmer's music studio, which a lot of people probably remember from Pirates of the Caribbean, among other things. Powell has worked on the scores of over 50 feature films, including titles such as Robot, Ice Age, Shrek, the Jason Bourne series, and his most acclaimed work was How to Train Your Dragon, for which he received an Academy Award nomination. And the Han Solo film is set to be released here in the U.S. May 25th, 2018. So how do you feel about this one?
You know what? It's like the Rogue One soundtrack's kind of grown on me a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I felt really kind of about it. I think that the more and more we get different composers putting their twist on things, that the more and more my ear will become acceptant to it. You know,
Right.
I wonder if they're kind of unofficially searching for the next one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like who's
To kind of replace and step in for John Williams. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I wonder, by testing out. It's sort of like having I don't know, I guess the movies have always had different directors, but just kind of doing the round robin of different directors, It's like, are you looking for the next one that you can go, we can go to him and he'll make a Star Wars movie,
Right.
for example.
Right.
So,
Well, any way you look at it, Powell is only the third music composer ever for Star Wars. So, you've got Williams, you've got Giacchino, and now you've got Powell.
Yep.
And, and who's to say that Powell won't be replaced between now and the time the score comes out, too? Because, we had the replacement. Giacchino took over for Andre Desplat, who was originally supposed to score Rogue One. And I loved his work, but John Powell is interesting because he even though he's got like 50 movies under his belt, a lot of them are things that you go, oh yeah, I know that movie.
Yeah.
And I was looking through some of his filmography, and I think I remember seeing The Road to El Dorado in there, which I love.
Oh. Okay.
So that one was in there, and then one of my favorite movies ever with John Travolta and Nick Cage, which is Face Off. So
okay.
he's got quite the gamut of different types of scores under his belt. So we'll see what he does with this one.
Interesting. All right. Yeah. Well, that's a whole lot of news, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Sure.
There's been a lot going on.
There is. Yep.
Even with all that news, there's still a lot of questions I have about the Han Solo shakeup. I started to wonder if there was... Oh, there's the show phone.
I'd better leave you alone. It could be a private call.
No, it's okay. You can just stay if you want. I'm sure it's nothing big.
No, I have to wax my Porg banana.
You're what?
Nothing. I can't talk now. Bye.
Weird. Well, I better answer. Hello? Are you there?
Yes, I am here. Although I do not know for how long, as at this time I am calling under extreme duress and danger to my person. But I must convey the tale of the story of the happenings of the execution of Lord in the Miller.
What a coincidence. I was just saying to Taxus.
What's wrong with your voice, the Dennis? Did you miss a treatment again?
What's wrong with my voice? That's like the Sith calling the helmet black.
It was a beautiful day like any other. We were all gathered at the Han Solo cast and crew talent show, enjoying a performance of Woody Harrelson singing California Girls, while Chewbacca played the tuba. We were eagerly awaiting Donald Glover's plate spinning while riding a unicycle routine when it happened.
They have talent shows? I wouldn't think Woody Harrelson would be a Katy Perry fan.
The show was interrupted by a very irate and agitated Kathleen Kennedy. She stormed onto the stage, holding the hand of a very distraught Alden Ehrenreich, as if he was but a little child. He clearly had been weeping tears of saddening sorrow. A minute bubble of mucus had formed around his left nostril. It expanded and contracted with every mournful heaving breath of his Ehrenreich lungs.
That's very shocking.
Yes, it is. The Kennedy bent down to the mind-suffering Ehrenreich and asked in a very low tone so that we strained our ear mouths to see. Okay, sugar, who did it? The Alden then cast his gaze to the sky, his eyes changing into a deep black, and he raised his little pinky finger in accusatory rage. Then, like the centerpiece of a game of spin the bottle, he began to wildly spin. His body rose in the air. This continued for 7 minutes, and just as Thandie Newton had returned from the concession stand with a box of Junior Mints, he began to slow down.
Huh, that should have been in the talent show. Why were Lord and Miller in the same chair?
Seating was very crowded, so they split a chair for the handy-capable obese children. But then, the Alden's fifth finger of accusatory doom settled upon the chair that was occupied by the Lord and the Miller. Alden's mouth then opened in a silent scream, saying, "That's the bad man, Kennedy Mommy." Then, in a fit of anime power, the Kennedy leaped off the stage and glided to the shaking Lord Miller duo, hovering over them like an avenging deity sent to wipe the world of bad movies.
That sounds incredible. What happened next?
The happenings of the what happened next happened to be the most terrifying things that my toes had ever beheld to my brain. The Kennedy said, "For crimes against all that is good and strong in Star Wars, I cast ye out into the world, condemned to direct parodies of the highly improbable television shows from the 1990s.
What was it that they had done wrong?
According to the Ehrenreich, they had completely taken the character of the Han Solo away from what the Great Maker had intended. The plot was that Amelia Clark would be the first Han Solo, and after a Wookiee garbage disposal accident, would make a transition into the man-male boy of the Alden Ehrenreich. The Lord and the Miller thought that this would be good for the character development, and since the original trilogy had blatantly shown brother-sister lovemaking, that the envelope of the shocking things had to be pushed.
Oh, that is a weird story element.
Also, they had been stealing the lunch money from the Alden.
Oh, that makes more sense.
At that time, two figures burst into the room. They were known to me as the death-dealing duo who had punished the people of the Poor Road One. The giant evil duck and the inbred walking dog.
Yeah, those two are always a bad sign.
The Lord and the Miller knew what was to come. They started shouting, "Run, brah, run!" over and over again, and in a pathetic attempt to flee, began throwing handfuls of Legos at the pursuing duck and dog. It was at this time. It happened.
What happened?
I cannot speak of the horror.
You have to tell the scoundrels.
No, I mustn't.
Please.
Okay. All of a sudden, the entire cafetorium began shaking. We were all tossed to the ground. The Lord and the Miller kept crawling away, desperate to make it to the relative safety of the Universal Studios. But then something erupted from the ground, blocking the way. It was a sarcophagus reserved for those who had ascended into director godhood. The seal broke open, revealing the hibernating visage of the Ron Howard.
That's pretty dramatic.
Then a whistling song began playing, and the voice of Andy Griffith spoke from the air all around, saying, "Behold, y'all's doom." The eye of the Howard then opened, and as he locked his stare into the eyes of the Lord and the Miller, he whispered, "These are not your happy days."
Those are yours and mine.
It is a little-known fact that the hat upon the head of the Howard is actually a shield that protects all humanity from the holy light of directing justice. The Howard then removed his hat, and the focus of the beam encompassed the poor director couple. In a brief instant, their screams were snuffed out. After the Howard returned the hat to his head, all that was left were smoking shadows in the tile floor.
Oh no! They were disintegrated?
No! They were teleported to the Fox. I can say no more. I must go.
Deep breath? Deep breath. Hello? Are you there?
I'm back. Was there anything I needed to know?
Just some movie news about Han Solo.
Oh man, I wish I heard it.
No, you don't.
Okay then, let's get on to our hypotheticals.
In the first hypothetical, we delve into some of the newest fashion news generated at the D23 Expo and San Diego Comic-Con by Ashley Eckstein, founder of Her Universe. Many fans know Ashley as the voice of Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars and Rebels series, as well as the new Forces of Destiny cartoon shorts. Founded in 2009, Her Universe has paved the way for a new generation of women's and girls' sci-fi and geek clothing, jewelry, and accessories. The The underlying philosophy of the company is to, quote, provide fashion-forward merchandise to female fans, hoping to change the perception that science fiction and fantasy is just for boys, unquote. Not only does the company have Star Wars items, but a wide range of fandoms, including everything from Marvel, Studio Ghibli, Star Trek, and Doctor Who, just to name a few. Recently, the entity has even paired with Funko Pop Vinyl and has added items for the home as well. At D23, fans were delighted to see several Leia-inspired designs presented to them. A collaboration between her universe, Disney Parks, and the Disney Store. These clothing items will feature some well-known outfits from Leia's scenes in the movies, translated to wearable designs for female fans. And these designs include, first off, a white cape coat, based on Leia's ceremonial gown and necklace at the end of A New Hope. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yep. Bespin dress, seen on Cloud City in The Empire Strikes Back, promising to be fully embroidered. Really excited about that one. Yeah. And lastly, this one I'm most excited about, a Hoth vest, also seen in The Empire Strikes Back, featuring the same quilting detail seen in the white vest that Leia wore at the Rebel base on Hoth. So yeah, these designs are really, really cool. I'm not quite sure how practical they will necessarily be just by first look, but it's definitely a great homage to the character. And the most practical one, I think, is going to be the Hoth vest, for sure.
Yeah, is that going to be like activewear, like outside stuff?
Well, vests, are something that, especially right now, are really in because they're layerable. And so when you're looking at things, I know for me personally, if I'm going to a football game, the vest can be thrown over, some long sleeve shirt and just kind of give it a nice look. You can wear it with a scarf. So, it's a really versatile look. That's why that one's my favorite.
That's so cute. You guys wear cold weather gear when you go to football games.
We do. It gets cold.
Yeah. It gets cold here too. It gets down to low 80s during football season.
Yeah. Well, I know in Ohio it's just the same as in Texas. I mean, it's Friday Night Lights, man.
That's right. That's right.
And white goes with everything. So no matter what your school's colors are, you can wear that Hoth vest to that football game.
Yeah. Watch out for the nachos though when you're eating them.
Yeah, that's true.
So, so I like the office attire.
Yes. Yeah, that is a really great line. And I'm telling you what, as a high school teacher, I definitely appreciate those new styles becoming available. Ashley just posted today, as a matter of fact, on Instagram. She's got some really cute pictures of her like by a water fountain and like looking into a plant. I don't know why, but and then she's holding these papers up like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. But yeah, it's great. And it's called the Business Casual Collection.
Yeah.
And it's actually being released in conjunction with Think Geek, which I love Think Geek. I've been a customer of them for a long time, and they revealed that at Comic-Con in San Diego. And so they're designed to be worn by women and who want to just showcase their fandom in the workplace. Because sometimes it's hard. I mean, you can't wear a T-shirt to work a lot of times, depending on what your job is. Yeah. So, I mean, we have Casual Friday, but we have to wear school colors, which I could still wear the Hoth vest because I could wear purple with it, and I can still be okay.
On the Assessor Collector, I raise morale by implementing Underwear Fridays.
Oh.
Yes.
And there you have it, folks.
So, I really like... I love, she's got that saucy boss look in that first picture. She's holding the Vader mug. And then the next one, I think I'm going to have to try to do the Stormtrooper mural at my office.
With the Post-it notes.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, great. Man, I cannot wait to see the reactions to that.
She's got her little leggings on, which is awesome. Leggings are very versatile, so they've got you can wear that, and she's got a blazer, and she's got the blazer on with the scarf and another one.
And then at the end, this is just her acting versatility. She truly has captured the face of somebody who is just destroyed with mind-numbing, soul-crushing office work.
Yeah, isn't that the one where she's throwing the papers up in the air?
She's just sitting next to the fax machine or the printer, just looking like, yeah,
exactly.
Boy, she really kind of kind of plucked a heartstring with me with that one. I just gotta say. So.
Well, she's definitely an actress at heart. That's for sure. I mean, that's how she got her claim to fame. But the one that I like the best, there's a sheer button-up polyester chiffon blouse, which is very delicate looking. So it's very professional. It's very feminine. But it has the ships of Star Wars. So it's black and white. It has like a black collar and button-up feature with some black around the sleeves, and then the ships are in black and white. Sometimes the way that you look at it, it almost looks like it has a shimmering effect. So some pictures that I've looked at, I've looked at and said, is there like a silver, to that? Or it must just be the way it's catching the light. But it's got X-Wings, TIE Fighters, Millennium Falcon. I think there's a TIE Interceptor on there, I want to say. But yeah, that's by far my favorite one, because you can wear that one with slacks, you can wear it with skirts. So, well, not you, but maybe. I mean, depends on the day of the week, maybe.
I don't know. Do they have a special needs sizing?
But of course.
Oh, okay. Because
Ashley caters to all sizes, which is awesome. Something for everyone.
I think I wear a 21XL in female sizing. So
you've actually tried this on?
No. Hosiery.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Got to that point and decided,
Well, speaking of sizing,
sure.
If you do order from her universe, this is something that I've learned firsthand. So, ladies, if you're listening, or guys, if you're deciding, you want to buy something special for your lady friend, check the size charts very carefully, because the sizes do tend to run just a little on the small side. So use the size charts that are online, get a tape measure. If you're at a store like Hot Topic, Kohl's, they have them in-house.
Awesome.
Hot Topic and Kohl's usually carries more of the Marvel activewear. They do have some of the other lines as well, but Hot Topic has a lot of the other things. So definitely try them on. It's nice because I'm built a lot like Ashley. I hope that isn't being too egotistical, but she's about my height. She's about my weight. So I always look at it and say, well, if it looks good on her, I might be able to get away with wearing that.
There you go.
So it's pretty cool. But I actually have from her line last year, I own the BB-8 dress that it's got like a lining and everything underneath it, which is really I wore it to graduation last year, so that was really cool.
It looks like there's going to be some branching out with different clothing styles too, right? For different purposes in the future.
Yeah. So
did I see Kevlar vests?
Here. Kevlar? No Kevlar yet.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
That might be in the design phases at this point. So you can put that on your wish list.
Yeah,
Ashley is very open to her fans and feedback. Yeah. And she gets right back to you. So if you put that bug in her ear, she just might.
I might be muted. I don't know. But what do they got? What do they got coming out though?
Well, like I said, in addition to all of the new workout gear, that's mostly Marvel stuff. And then you've got the business casual line, and there's a really cute dress that actually has the cantina on it. There's a Padme themed line that's got some of the things from Naboo. So it's a very pastel, almost retro kind of thing with the full skirts. So they've got kids clothing. There's something for everyone. There really is. So there's casual, semi-formal dresses, all kinds of stuff. But did you catch the fashion show?
No, I didn't.
Pretty cool. So this was the 4th annual, and it was entitled Follow Your Dreams this year, and it had 25 different fandom-inspired designs by different designers, and Rolling Stone even picked it up as one of the 25 best things they saw at SDCC this year, so that's pretty cool.
Okay.
And Ashley was wearing a beautiful sapphire gown this year, inspired by Cinderella's bippity-boppity-boo transformation. And it was designed by Andrew McLean, who actually designed her Lego gown last year. Did you see that one, the Ahsoka gown last year?
Yeah, I remember that one.
That was, for me, as beautiful as this dress was, as gorgeous as it was, incorporating that whole rags to riches transformation of Cinderella with the stars and everything swirling around her. Ashley looked gorgeous. Nothing's ever going to top that Lego dress for me.
Right.
That's so iconic. She is Ahsoka, and she was wearing Ahsoka.
Yeah, that's right.
How cool. And 10,000 Legos, 25 pounds. She probably lost weight just wearing the dress.
And we can all wear a little Ahsoka, not in a creepy way.
Let's hope not.
No. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's so iconic. I mean, we remember the dress that Marilyn Monroe wore on the subway grate, right? In the 7-Year Itch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think this one will go right up there with
cool.
that. So,
well, that sounds really exciting. I know, again, as a father of 2 girls, that kind of stuff really hits home, for them. Because I make them wear men's loafers.
Aw, shame on you. Well, have them get on your universe and they can pick out some things. And she even has this Monday must-haves, and she reduces prices on stuff, so you can get on there and even get a sale.
Yeah, there you go.
They just
That's
had
neat.
a little girl's shirt, I think just this last week, actually.
Awesome. Okay.
So there you have it. So I hope that this informed you, inspired you, and helped you learn a little bit more about that fashion that's out there right now.
I'm ready for my Star Wars kilt.
For our second hypothetical, we wanted to discuss a little bit about the sizzle reel. And, it's been out for a little while now, and it has been kind of talked to death and analyzed here and there and everywhere. But Taxus and I still wanted to delve into a few of our favorite things. So, Taxus, why don't you start us off? What do you think?
Well, beyond the Porg craze, I think one of my favorite pictures is the scene of Chewie with the camp out fire sitting underneath the Millennium Falcon. That's so... It feels natural,
I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Yeah. I really liked it. It's like, he could stay on the Falcon and use whatever food thing or whatever, but he's a Wookiee. He likes great outdoors. It's kind of nice, and hopefully it doesn't do anything to his perm. But,
that was a great shot of him in the curlers, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was wonderful. So, then the other picture really kind of hit me, and I know some people were saying, "What are those things? What are they?" So I'm going to just issue, if you haven't really been paying attention, but I think that this is kind of public knowledge. This is a spoiler alert. So, I think those stormtroopers and those weird things, I think those are the executioners that have been mentioned as the new stormtrooper class, and I think those kind of look like they could have like an energy field projected between them, so that they could perfectly sever the head off somebody. Just saying,
yeah,
something like
sounds
that.
Brutal,
like an energy axe or something.
Yeah.
So,
I guess we'll get to see.
Yeah, because they got the black pauldrons with the first order logo on there. So now here's Okay, so there's a picture of a gunner in. That looks like the front or underside of a spacecraft. And then there's another picture of someone in the middle of a bunch of bombs, and they're descending a railing. So I think this is, they were suspecting this might be Rose's sister.
Oh, okay.
And
Paige is her name,
Paige.
I believe.
Okay, and it looks like she might be descending the ladder to get to the nose cannon. And I noticed that the color of flight suit she's wearing, I think, is the same color of flight suit that Finn's wearing. So maybe he's not a pilot. Maybe he's, part of the crew on a gunship or something like that. So, So that's kind of what really interested me. I really liked those scenes.
Cool. Yeah, for me, it was a lot of the quotes that came out of it. One of the first things that Daisy Ridley said was that Rian Johnson wrote this story that's unexpected but right. It's the second of the trilogy, but yet it's kind of its own thing. People are going to step back and go, oh my God. So, for me, this is kind of like The Empire Strikes Back. We're going to get some surprises. We're going to get some revelations. It's going to feel maybe a little darker, a little grittier, maybe not quite as dark as Rogue One, But, it kind of leads me to believe it might be going in that direction. What do you think?
Possibly. I mean, I just don't really have a feel yet for this. Everybody's talking about how intense it's supposed to be and all that. And, but just nothing really, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. I guess that's what it boils down to. I haven't seen anything except for the executioners. If that's what they are, that makes me go, that's, I wonder what they're going to do with that scene, Right.
Well, and I don't like to pull back the curtain too much. Personally, I like to be surprised. I don't want to see all the spoilers.
Right.
If it's something that's being released, like we were talking about, then that's totally fine. But I still want that little mystique there. And, and that's one thing that Gwendolyn Christie actually said too. And I'm going to quote her. She said that the story was good against evil, told in the most fascinating way, but it has spiritual depth to it. So that's pretty intriguing to me. And obviously the Force is spiritual. Yes. So how is, obviously the title, The Last Jedi, and we know that Luke said the Jedi have to end. There's going to be this very spiritual element, I think, to that whole maybe bringing closure to things. So, but another thing too, as far as images go, was Rey practicing with her staff. Like there's a picture of her, or a little footage of her practicing, and she's got these cardboard boxes in front of her. And I'm thinking, okay, well, she's got a lightsaber now. Why is she using a staff? So what's going on with that?
Yeah, that is weird. Because I did like the lightsaber training picture. Both she and Kylo Ren.
Right. And his scar looks great.
Yeah.
So really I think the scar looks really, really good.
Yeah, not puffy and weird off-colored,
Right.
It's a nice
exactly.
scar. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, that's what I liked out of them. Thought they were really nice, Not to beat a dead Porg, but so.
And there's Fathers. That's the horse on Canto Bight. We talked a little earlier about maybe talking about some of the other creatures. It's called a Father. Looks like a horse / llama. You wonder if they, in one of the Richies has it for like a pleasure animal or something. And then that crystal wolf.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one too. So we'll have to see if that's actually the final rendering, or if that was sort of an in between kind of thing. Yeah. Maybe it's a Kyber crystal wolf.
Maybe.
Has a heart of Kyber.
The crystal fox. I think Joe said he wanted to be called that when he gets older.
Oh, the crystal fox.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, in their episode. Yep.
Yep. That's funny. Yep. So I guess we'll just have to see what we see. So.
All right. Sizzle away.
Hey, Scoundrels, this is Richard.
And this is Sarah from
Skywalking Through Neverland.
And you are listening to Dennis and Taxus on
Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I don't. These are good guys.
Last week, we touched on some of the Star Wars news coming out of the D23 Expo and promised to discuss it in further detail on this episode. Then it occurred to us, what better way is there to cover D23 than discuss with some friends that were there? So we're pleased to welcome Richard and Sarah Woloski from Skywalking Through Neverland to Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels. Hey, Richard and Sarah, welcome to the show.
Hey there, Dennis and Taxus. Good to hear from you guys again. It's been a while.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. This is a treat for us.
Oh, good. Yeah, we love sharing our experiences. So what better way than?
It's like a little family reunion for the Zepro Retro Zap family.
Exactly.
It's early in the morning here. It's early in the morning at 11 a.m.
Yeah, it's been a busy time for you all, for certain. So, well, let's get right to it. You all were there at D23, and it's something I've always wanted to do, and I've just never had the opportunity. So, just in general, what is it like being there at the convention?
So I've actually been to every D23 Expo since 2009. It happens every other year. And so it's kind of a special thing when something doesn't happen annually, it happens every 2 years. It's this big deal. And it's only 3 days of just pure Disney magic. And every year, however, it has gotten more and more crowded. So that's the only problem with it being really exciting and special, is that more people know about it. And so it just gets more crowded. So Richard and I were prepared, though. If you're prepared, we got there very, very early in the morning to skip the 2.5-hour lines to get into the convention itself. And we just hung out downstairs where they queue you for the main big panels or the show floor. And you talk with people, you get some coffee, you talk with Skywalkers. It's a really fun time. And until you're finally released into the expo show.
It's funny looking back at the original D23 Expo when it was just Disney.
Yes.
And now it's ballooned up to Marvel and then Star Wars. And that's why it's really become this huge conglomerate empirical type of convention. I think because of celebrations and Comic-Cons being as big as they are every single time they're here.
Yes.
I think some people, even like us, are leaving Comic-Cons to go to other conventions. And if you don't want to be pushed and shoved around at Comic-Con, well, then you can go to celebrations, and they're getting as big, and now people are going to D23. So what I'm saying is there's more options for conventions, especially to us Disney and Star Wars fans.
But one thing for a Disney convention like D23 Expo, people know how to stand in lines.
Oh yeah. You got to be a pro for that. In fact, 2.5 hours. Pshaw. Come on. That's nothing,
in fact,
right?
We were in line for 7 hours, and honestly, I forgot we were waiting in line.
There you go.
We had our phones out. We're recording YouTube videos. We're talking to people all around us, and finally, when the announcement came over the loudspeakers, everyone get up. We're gonna start
shuffling
you into the hall. I'm like, what are you talking about? Where are we going? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go see the live action panel.
Yeah,
I forgot.
That's a lot better than last time I was in a long line. Somebody spilled beer on my back.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was a bunch of college students. Kids will be kids. Well, but it is what you make of it. Definitely.
To be fair to them, they had to look at their iPhones.
Yeah, probably. Well, I was glad nothing spilled on my iPhone, though. That's all I cared about. But well, this D23 is a little different, though, than a regular convention, because this is kind of more of a showcase of what to expect or what's to come, right? So
yes.
Yeah. So to me, that's the intriguing aspect of it, is just, especially this year, I think it had more Star Wars goodness and deliciousness than in the past. Would you guys think that as well?
Well, actually, 2015 was the D23 Expo where a lot of Star Wars news came out of, and all of a sudden, D23 Expo got on the radars of Star Wars fans, because I remember after that expo, we were in the room when they announced Star Wars Land. Leaped up in our seats, and there was also a lot of news about the Star Wars anthology films at that point. I think they were still calling them.
Yeah, that's when they were starting to call it a Star Wars story.
Yes.
So there was a lot of Rogue One news, and it was right on the cusp of the opening of Force Awakens.
Yes.
And so that's when everyone thought, okay, we got to get here next time.
Exactly.
This is we're not just announcing the next Cinderella straight to DVD video. This is big time.
Exactly. So that's when I remember right after that, a whole rash of Star Wars podcasts were like, wait, what's this D23 thing? Like they didn't know what to call it because they had just heard about it. And
they were giving away those Drew Struzan posters.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, it was the place to be.
Yeah. So luckily we were there for that one too. Yay.
Did they get into the Star Wars edition to the Disney parks at that last D23 Expo in 2015?
Yeah, yes, they did get so they announced it at the live action panel that there would be a Star Wars Land in both Orlando and Anaheim. And then the Walt Disney Parks and Resorts panel was that same afternoon. And that's where they got into detail about how there would be 2 rides and it would be like an immersive experience.
And we heard from this expo, because we were talking to a lot of people on the inside, and we were asking, why did they announce Star Wars Land, something that should have been announced at the Parks and Resorts panel, at the live action panel? And they had said that they were so afraid that the news was going to leak prematurely.
Yes,
because
in those 3 hours.
There were too many people who knew about it at this point. So they thought, you know what, we don't want to have all these bloggers and sites and Hollywood Reporter jumping on this. We want to be the first to announce it. So we thought we got to do it in the next half an hour, or it's going to be ruined.
Yeah.
Because we always wondered, why announce it now?
Yeah.
Which I think that was the biggest and best surprise we've ever experienced in even all of my 40 years of convention going. I've never, ever had a surprise like this.
That's awesome. I remember I was super excited about it. And, now we've got a little more detail coming out on Star Wars Land, or as it's called, Galaxy's Edge, right?
Yes.
Don't ever call it Star Wars Land in front of an Imagineer.
Oh, no. Okay. Thanks for the tip.
Yeah. Word to the wise.
Well, how much of it do you think is kind of forming as to what you originally imagined from that first announcement?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if I had an idea in mind. Richard, did you?
They may have said that it would be immersive, but at that point, I think our heads were just mush. Right. We didn't really get that. And I was just thinking, like, you have Star Tours over here, you have a speeder bike roller coaster over here, maybe a cantina over there. So things like rides that we have now, not like you were going to travel to this land, to this experience, and be totally ingrained in this. That was, I think, far from our minds.
The table. Yeah, so I think they are talking. Well, I mean, the whole idea of that you go on this Millennium Falcon ride, and if you crash, there could be bounty hunters, looking for you after you get off the ride, or if you do well, there could be a medal in your future. That is something I don't think we would have ever thought of.
Oh, yeah. When you get off a ride, the experience doesn't stop there. It follows you for life.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're like credit reports.
Yeah.
Maybe after 7 years.
Oh, man.
So they debuted the model at this thing, and I've heard that it was something like 50 feet long. Did you all get a chance to take a look at that?
Absolutely, we did. And unfortunately, they have this model, and it's flat. And there's all these, like,
it's about 4 feet off the ground.
Yeah, 4 feet off the ground. But they have stanchions around the model, so you can't get right up to it.
Oh.
And
believe me, we tried.
Yeah, me being short, it's also not at an angle. So like the Millennium Falcon is way in the back, like it's like a triangle basically, and the Millennium Falcon is in the back triangle that's farthest from where you could look. And so I could barely see the Millennium Falcon just by virtue of they needed to really cant that thing at a 45-degree angle so you could see every part of the model.
I'm about 9 inches taller than you, and I could barely see the Millennium Falcon model. I could just see the cockpit between a couple of model buildings, and that was it. Yeah, it really should have been at a 45-degree angle. And there's a Disney museum, or what am I thinking of, that has the Disneyland model at that 45-degree angle, so you can see the whole thing.
The Walt Disney Family Museum? Probably?
Yeah, that's
in
it.
San Francisco.
So in front of the model, you had all these little model trees.
Yes.
So you can't really see a whole lot.
Yes, but luckily, I mean, I know people were able to get closer with their videos, and
if you had a selfie stick, you were in good shape.
Yeah, and actually on our YouTube channel, Skywalking Through Neverland YouTube, we have a video. We were able to interview an Imagineer, Chris Beatty, about the model and about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And in that video, I have some B-roll of some close-ups of the model itself. So if you head to the YouTube channel, you can see that a little better.
And that's where we discovered for the first time that there's going to be a resistance side and a first order side, whereas the middle is the marketplace.
Yeah.
So you're caught right in the middle, so you got to decide on the side.
So how are they going to do that? Do you think they're going to keep it in a certain time, or do you think they'll kind of transition, sort of like how, I don't know, Star Tours would change the different planets you could visit on occasion?
Oh, no, I think this will be a particular planet, which they have not named yet. And it's on the galaxy's edge, so it's like wild space almost. Right. And I believe it is, I mean, because there is that first order section, this is, after 30 years after Return of the Jedi. So,
but being this is going to be released right before episode 9.
Oh, yeah.
So I think they're going to always keep with the times. So we'll see references to The Last Jedi. We won't go past episode 9 at the opening, but it's flexible enough where they can keep adding and integrating new elements to every film or TV show that comes our way.
Right. And one interesting thing about it is there's Imagineers that are in charge of the Battle Escape ride, the First Order ride.
Yeah.
There's Imagineers who are in charge of the Millennium Falcon ride, but there's also a whole big section of Imagineers who are in charge of the marketplace and the whole experiential portion of it. So they are taking that very, very seriously.
That's right.
Yeah, I had heard Doug Chang was talking about it because I guess he had some involvement in the design, and he mentioned that unlike a movie where they can frame a shot so they don't have to worry about a lot of details, the challenge here was, if someone goes around the corner, they have to make that building look like it belongs in Star Wars. It can't just be a prop there. What was your favorite part of this model? What was the favorite area that you saw out of all that?
Honestly, my favorite part was, we go to Disneyland a lot. We know where the entrances to Star Wars Land will be, like on the ground. And so my favorite thing about the model was bending down. There was tunnels that are going to be leading into Star Wars Land. So my favorite thing was bending down and just pretending that I was standing in Frontierland looking through that tunnel into Star Wars Land. So that was my favorite part, seeing that perspective.
I think my favorite part that really sticks out is seeing the A-Wing fighter. Because up until now, I didn't know there was going to be A-Wings there.
Oh.
Now, in the original concept paintings, we did see a Lambda-class shuttle. And I think they did away with that in favor of other First Order shuttles.
Okay.
Ones that don't have movable wings.
Yeah. And I was really looking forward to seeing a life-size Lambda-class shuttle.
How cool would that be?
Yeah, so and there was a blockade runner in that original concept painting too, and I think they just thought, let's just throw some recognizable images in there, get people excited, and we'll pull back as we need. Understandable.
Yes.
But if you show something like that, there's people like me who's like, okay, I'm waiting for this. I want to board a blockade runner. Don't take it away from me.
That'd be so cool. You know what? And there's always room for expansion, right? There's always Galaxy's Edge, Japan.
In Anaheim, if we expanded, we'd be taking out the 5 freeway.
Yeah, pretty much.
I am not opposed to.
Yeah,
That's... Oh, what if the 5 freeway went through?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let's make a bridge. Oh my God. This is hyperspace lane over to the next part of the galaxy.
We can wipe out part of Garden Grove.
Okay.
There we go, and now it's called Galaxy's Edge: Garden Grove. It's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah,
this is the way life is going. Disney will just take over United States of Mickey.
Pretty much.
Sure.
Did they happen to mention anything about what's going to happen to Star Tours? Are they going to somehow integrate it into Galaxy's Edge, or are they just going to leave it as it is? Because I haven't been to the park in Anaheim. I've been to Orlando several times, and Star Tours is kind of set up so that when you approach it, you're kind of looking at it like it's a movie prop as opposed to an interactive land. Did anyone mention how that's going to work into Galaxy's Edge?
No one has mentioned that, and I doubt Star Tours will move to Galaxy's Edge, but Captain Rex from the original Star Tours will be in Star Wars Land, specifically the cantina, as a DJ.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, they couldn't move Star Tours because that takes place around the prequel era.
Right.
Well,
so it would just be a mess of continuity. So I think they're just going to keep it where it is. And, if you're a continuity fanatic, get over it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Because it's just here. Galaxy's Edge is over there. Deal with it.
Now, remind me, is Captain Rex's voice still Paul Rubens?
Paul. Yes, it is.
Okay.
And in fact, we know from an Imagineer that Paul Rubens has a lifetime pass to Disneyland Resort as long as his voice is being used in the park.
Which he cherishes.
Yes. So the fact that his voice will be in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, he still gets that lifetime pass.
Oh, I'm sure his agent is working overtime to make sure he saves that $1,000 a year.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great tidbit and wonderful episode, by the way. I really loved that one. Where you
thank
think his name's escaping me.
Mark Eads. Yeah, he was one of the Imagineers, and he pretty much was the concept designer, the concept conceiver of Star Tours.
Wow.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's the one that pitched ideas to George Lucas. Mm-hmm. And you can go to see this episode. I'm not remembering what number it is, but it was our Star Tours 30th anniversary special, which was the first episode of 2017.
And I know Darth Taxus, he talked a lot about the money.
Right. Making sure that the returns were good. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a part of the show I was thinking about cutting out. I'm thinking, who's going to want to hear this part? And it's like, wow, I'm glad I left it in.
Yeah.
I got excited when you started talking about that. I have to be honest with you. That kind of stuff interests me. But
money going in, money going out, weighing out the balances.
Yeah, that's what everybody makes decisions on, you know. Hey, did he have a hand, do you think, or just maybe even advisory role in the new Galaxy's Edge? Oh, okay.
No, he didn't.
He no longer works as an Imagineer, Mark Eads. He's on the public.
But speaking of Imagineers, a couple of episodes ago, we had spoken to Bob Gurr.
Oh, right.
Who was one of the biggest Imagineers of all time, and we got his input on Star Wars Land. Won't spoil it if you hadn't heard it yet, but this is, I want to say, episode 175.
Somewhere near there.
Yeah, so we cornered him and asked him his opinions, and
it's interesting.
Quite shocking.
Okay.
Quite shocking, but I don't disagree with him.
Okay.
Speaking of Rex in the cantina, one, do you think he's going to be a better DJ than captain of a starship? And two,
I hope not.
I know.
Did they give any other insight as to what kind of experience you can expect in that cantina?
No, not. But I know that they said Captain Rex may be about as good as at DJing as he is as a starship pilot. So you can expect something to go wrong. So I'm assuming there will be perhaps some kind of show that cycles.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's going to be playing some John Williams, accidentally get in some Lalo Schifrin or Jerry Goldsmith. And then it's just a mess from there.
Well, that's interesting, because if they are going to do this immersive, you would think that they would want to try to create music that would be unique, sort of source music, you might say.
Yeah.
You know?
And I did ask the Chris Beatty on our last episode. Notice how we keep slipping in our plugs?
That's okay.
Episode 177 about, hey, are we going to be hearing John Williams music? And they pretty much said no, because it's going to be all immersive music to that planet.
No, Richard, you said we're probably not going to be hearing John Williams, and he says, well, John Williams is a big part of it. So he didn't really answer your question.
Well, he did. He did, because we're not going to be hearing music. We can hear on our MP3s or record players or whatever you have. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear music sourced from that land. I'm sure it's going to sound extremely inspired by John Williams soundtracks, but we're not going to hear the Star Wars theme looped for 10 hours.
Right.
Because that wouldn't make any sense.
So would there be music throughout the rest of the park? Do you guys know that?
Yes.
Okay.
They were very clear on that music is a big part of Star Wars, so you will be hearing music. And in this Galaxy of Stories pavilion at D23 Expo, they did have a showcase with some instruments.
Yeah.
So that was very telling. There will be music everywhere you go. Not just certain places, but you need to keep that continuity. You have to feel like you're in a movie, which movies have sometimes the wall-to-wall soundtracks. Mm-hmm. So you're going to always be hearing music, whether it's very overt, whether it's very subtle.
Right.
I'm sure they have someone on sound design who's gonna figure all this out.
Oh my gosh.
Well, not just music, but
there'll be sound effects
and things. Because one of the things about Pandora that strikes people when they walk through is the sounds, not just whatever music is playing, but the actual sounds of the jungle. And so I'm sure we'll be hearing things like that throughout Star Wars.
One of the beautiful things that Ben Burt did for Star Wars, you always heard off-camera sounds intercom voices, spaceships, laser blasts,
Yeah.
just to make you feel like it's all around you. Whatever you see on screen is not it, but there's a world. If you zoomed out, you're going to see more and hear more and see where the sources are coming from these sounds. So I'm sure there's going to be some kind of a stereophonic system where you're going to hear like the hover of a Star Destroyer pass over you for like 5 minutes and just fade off in the distance.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm glad to hear that about the music. I know when they used to have the Star Wars weekends at Hollywood Studios, or then when they had Galactic Nights during Celebration, they pumped the Star Wars themes through the speakers, and that really helped set the atmosphere for while you were there.
Well, they better have an opening crawl. That's all I'm saying.
As you walk into the park. Good idea. Did they give any idea what other characters you can kind of expect to see wandering around? You know, they teased Hondo would be there and might have something to do with the Millennium Falcon ride. Did they give any other idea about who else you might be finding there at Galaxy's Edge?
Saw Chewbacca. We in the model we did see R5 units and BB-8s, but then again they said that was just to give you the idea of what's going to be going on. And I did ask Chris Beatty, who was one of the Imagineers on Galaxy's Edge, are we going to see classic creatures? Because in this Galaxy of Stories pavilion, we saw an Ithorian.
Like a model.
Or many of you know as Hammerhead.
Yes.
So we saw a bust of him, which tells you that they're going to be Ithorians and other classic creatures, which I'm very excited about because we didn't get Rhodians or Aqualesh or Ithorians in Rogue One or Force Awakens, and I was disappointed about that. Throw one Snaggletooth, would you?
Well, and then we're walking around the pavilion the second day. There was a Jake. Remember Jake?
Yeah.
So can you describe Jake?
Yeah, Jake is they're testing out the new droids that will be roaming around Galaxy's Edge that are totally autonomous. So unlike the R2 builders where you always have an R2 controller, these are they're on their own.
Yeah, they're like Rumbas.
Yeah, so they're just gonna be rolling around, and I'm not sure how this is gonna work, and I don't even know if they know how this is gonna work. But they were testing this thing over the weekend, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, it wouldn't run into walls. It wouldn't run into anyone. It would like sense and stop and like do a little turn, kind of exactly like a Rumba machine.
Cool. As long as they don't have it.
Rumba.
Yeah, I think it's a Roomba. Right? As long as they don't
Yeah.
have it accidentally set to exterminate mode, then I think we'll be okay.
You know what? Well, it all depends.
Yeah.
Whoops. I'm sure many Disneyland goers know what I'm talking about. See the wall of people heading your way that don't move out of your way, or people who are on their phones during Star Tours.
Or the slow walker. The slow walker. The one that kind of toddles back and forth. Sort of like a wibbly wobbly or something.
You know what? If they want to exterminate those people or extract them, I'll look the other way.
Wow, you are Sith Rich. Whoa, man!
You know, when I'm at Star Wars Land, I don't want to be interrupted by someone who's got to text and walk at the same time. You know, pull over to the side.
Yeah, they need to develop their skills first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm very excited, and I don't know how these droids are going to work, just because Galaxy's Edge will be jam-packed for years to come.
I'm hoping they, at least in the first, year, they give away time tickets. So, like, a certain amount of people can only be in there, because otherwise, how can you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Right.
If it's going to be too crowded. So I believe that's what they did with Pandora for a while.
Did they?
And even Harry Potter, like they had the soft openings for almost, 3 months before it opened here in LA, and annual pass holders would have certain times that they could come in between.
Now that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
That is the only way to enjoy Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been alluding to the rides, the attractions, this entire conversation. We know there is a Millennium Falcon experience, and then there is some sort of a conflict between the First Order and the Resistance as the other attraction there. What further details did they give you all on these two rides?
Well, first of all, those are the only rides that in an adventure in the Star Destroyer, because I thought there'd be at least 6 or 7 rides.
Really?
Yes, I did. And that's when we asked him, how many rides are there? He said 2.
When did you think there'd be that many? Or where would they have
it's
the
a
stamp for that?
14-acre expansion.
Well,
there would have to be more than 2 rides.
Well, no, but part of it is just the experience of wandering around in the cantina.
Well,
they need
yes,
places to eat.
But you have 14 acres. At least throw in something else. Some kind of a speeder bike ride. Maybe you're escaping Tito again. Something. But having it be just the experience, I'm extremely happy with that. And in fact, that's going to be even better. That's a whole new direction for amusement parks because now you're not waiting in line for 7 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's going to be even more thrilling.
Do you think the areas like the Resistance and the First Order area are going to have, I don't know, like stormtroopers marching in formation? I get the idea that some of these, I can't remember what they call it, but the Star Wars kind of hub that they have over at Hollywood Studios, that type of thing, the expo that is going to go away, where they've got all the props and stuff set up and the meet and greets over there. You think that's kind of maybe going to be part of this 14 acres, is the opportunity to just kind of see the Resistance at work or the First Order at work?
Oh, definitely.
I'm sure,
definitely, yeah.
I'm sure you'll see those, every so often you see the 2 First Order stormtroopers wandering around Tomorrowland here in Disneyland. And so I'm sure it'll be a similar thing. You'll have the guys come out for a couple minutes, check out the territory, check out the scene.
What they used to do at Disney parks is have just little pop-up scenarios. Mm-hmm. And they've done away with that a while ago. And Knott's Berry Farm will have that too, where all of a sudden a gunfight will break out in the middle of an alley.
Okay, so that would be amazing.
They're going to have a lot of that kind of experiences too. That little pop-up scenarios will go on between maybe the Resistance and the First Order, or the First Order is going to be hassling someone, or the Resistance they may come up to you and say, hey, Red 5 at 3 o'clock.
Right.
To make you part of the experience and have a little scenario there for you, or ixnay on that, and just kind of shuffle away.
The Dianoga flies during the South Side. Yeah. So speaking of weapons, what are the current costume weapons policies now? And do you think, part of the experience is having a blaster strapped to your hip, in my opinion. Do you think, how are they going to control that? And do you think, have they talked about that at all? Or will only park people maybe kind of be strapped?
Oh, yeah, just the park performers.
Unless you have a lightsaber.
Yeah, even now you can't go walking in there with a blaster unless you spray painted it neon orange and have 13 tags on it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, even for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, if you want to bring in a weapon, you've got to make sure that it looks like a big, giant toy from Hasbro.
Yes.
I know. That's always makes me giggle when I bring my fake lightsaber to a convention and they're making me tag it, and the officer's just sitting there shaking their head. I know.
But it's all for our safety.
That's right.
What did you all? We've said it several times now, but what did you all think of the Galaxy's Edge name for the parks?
First reaction, I loved it. And I thought, wow, if you're going to beat something as hashtagable as Star Wars Land, bring it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And in my opinion, they brought it on. I like it.
They did, until I started hashtagging it. And whenever I type in hashtag Galaxy, it comes up hashtag Galaxy S8. Or, like the phones.
Some kind of a phone device.
So now when I think of Galaxy's Edge, I'm thinking of the phones.
Wow.
So that's the only issue with that. Otherwise, before that, I thought it was a cool name. And who wouldn't want to go to the Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah.
Because it implies beyond that. Like it
implies, the outer rim.
Yeah.
You know what happens on the outer rim? Nothing good.
It implies looking ahead and looking out. And it implies what it is, which is this all new,
very outlaw.
It's the wilderness.
This new section. Yeah, the wilderness. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, you never know what anything can happen in these outlaw territories.
Wild space.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well,
so what did you guys think of the name?
Dennis, after you, please.
Oh, I loved it. I mentioned on our last episode, I was concerned they were going to give it a planet's name that had a whole bunch of apostrophes in it, and.
Well, you know what? Timothy Zahn is not writing this.
Yeah.
So we're
yeah. Well, and I just didn't want it to be something that no one could pronounce. Galaxy's Edge made sense, and for the reasons you all just said, it gives you an idea of what this is, where it is, especially if you know anything about Star Wars, and there's an outer rim and the like, and what's going on near wild space, and that is an area of conflict between the First Order and the Resistance. So I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's just vague enough to work. Just kind of you fill in the details with your imagination, right? Which that's kind of what it's all about.
when I first heard Galaxy of Stories, which was the name of the pavilion at D23, I thought, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
no.
a Star Wars land
So
name.
I
What?
immediately tweeted out to the folks over there at Disney and said, "Oh no, seriously?" They said, "No, that's just the name of the pavilion. You know, we're good." It's like, okay, good. Okay, for the pavilion, it works. For a whole land, no one's ever gonna call it that.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm trying to train the brain to say Galaxy's Edge instead of Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
I know.
I really like it.
Me too. It sounds way better than Star Wars Land, to be honest with you. Or like Tomorrowland is now just Today Land, right? You know, so you don't want to. You don't want to lose that specialness.
Yesterday Land.
Well, the other big news that came out with respect to the parks was this announcement of a Star Wars hotel experience type of thing. And this just sounds, what I got from sitting at home reading stories on the Disney blog sounds incredible. But, I know it's still kind of in the concept phase, but what were you all able to learn about the Star Wars hotel while you were there?
So the Star Wars Hotel, it will be in Orlando, Florida. But once you're inside this Star Wars Hotel, it sounds like it's almost like going on a cruise ship where you will be in this hotel totally immersed in the experience and you won't really go outside of the hotel. So once you're there, you'll be dressed like you're in the Star Wars universe. Cool. I'm hoping whether you're an adult or a child, and anything that happens, everything's included. So your meals are included, whatever experiences, like if there's a show, if there's something you're going to participate in, that's all included in whatever this astronomical price tag will be. And when you check in, that'll be part of the experience somehow. So basically it's meant to be a completely immersive Star Wars experience. And everywhere you look, all the windows, if you look outside the window, you're not going to see a parking lot. You're not going to see Hollywood Studios. You're going to see space.
Yes.
So it's like you've entered a spacecraft and gone. So I'm sure once you enter, you'll enter into like an elevator, kind of like in the Haunted Mansion, which will like shoot you up into space, so that once you come out of that elevator and you walk out, which you probably only went 2 feet, but like you'll be walking out and you'll be like, oh, this is a spaceship.
I'm sure it'll be like a glass elevator with like the hyperspace lines going all around you.
That'd be amazing.
You'll feel like you're going 1,000,000 miles an hour and leave the other world behind, because I don't want to walk into this new hotel and see a guy from wherever wearing flip-flops and cargo shorts and a Budweiser t-shirt.
Yeah, wearing a Land 10,000 Lake shirt, right?
Exactly.
Well, that's cool, because originally I thought it'd be neat if because they have the technology to do that, and I thought they could, if they were going to do like the hotel on Coruscant or something, and then do the, like you have to travel to wherever it is, then you would, wherever you get in, like the monorail or something, would be just an enclosure that would do the hyperspace feel, and then you could almost do the whole galaxy tours, or Star Tours just on that monorail ride, on the way in. Right. What do I know? But so that's cool.
They told us a little bit about it. Yeah, like Sarah, you were just saying, we don't know the price just yet. And I would say just start saving the pennies and get a 3rd or 4th job.
Yeah, and I believe it's going to be finished by 2021, which is the anniversary, the 50th anniversary of Magic Kingdom, something like that.
Oh, wow. Right. Yeah. I've heard that too, that they're trying to get this experience and everything else they're doing in the parks ready for that big 50th anniversary. So
is that separate from the park from the park itself? I mean, is that, or are they going to open the whole thing all at one time?
That'll be separate from Star Wars Land or
Galaxy's Edge.
Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, over there in Orlando. So I believe it'll be done after that. But I wouldn't be surprised if you can walk straight from that hotel into Galaxy's Edge there in Florida.
I'm sure there'll be like a secret entrance.
Yes.
Right.
Were you all there for the presentation, or I should say the induction of Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher as Legends?
Yes, we were.
Yeah, we waited, and I think we got in line at about 4:00 in the morning. We weren't going to miss this.
Yeah.
How, they really hadn't released much in the way of video, or at least not that I found yet on that. What was that experience like?
Well, I think we have Mark Hamill's speech on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, if
Pretty
not,
sure
we
we do.
played most of it on episode 177 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Yes.
It was great. It was great seeing Carrie Fisher's tribute video, and I'm so glad they didn't really touch on her passing, but just on how she is a legend. Let's just focus on that. Yeah. And then from there, they went in. They said, unfortunately, Billie Lourd, her daughter, couldn't be here because she's on the set of American Horror Story. Well, and who can blame her? I don't know how Billie Lourd got to Celebration Orlando and how she kept it together. Just sitting in the audience, we're all a mess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was fantastic there. I was absolutely amazed by how well she kept it together there.
Yeah. No. And then they went into Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill went into how he's very honored and just loves the fans and loves Disney. And then he tried to go into a little bit of Carrie Fisher, but you could tell his voice was shaking, and the nerves, the emotions were getting the better of him. So it's like, okay, guys, thank you very much. Good night, Anaheim.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I guess I'm not sure that I completely understand the history of the Disney Legends. How they've been doing this for how long now? Inducting people into this? Do you know?
That is a good question.
A very long time.
A very long time.
No,
Okay.
I think it's only like maybe 30 years. Hold on.
Oh, well, that is longer than I thought, because I thought it was something that just came up with the D23 Expo originally.
Oh, no. That has been going on for a while.
In fact, if you go over to Disney Studios in Burbank, they have handprints of all the people who were inducted as legends.
It was established in 1987, and the honor was traditionally awarded annually during a special private ceremony. Now, since 2009, it has been awarded biennially during the D23 Expo. Okay. So yeah, and now that Disney has bought Marvel and Star Wars, are kind of playing catch up with adding those legends to their mix. But if you go to the Walt Disney Studios, you'll get out of the parking garage and you'll be immediately in the Legends Plaza, which is overlooking the main building where all the seven dwarfs are holding up the building, and there on the columns and on the floor and everywhere you'll see the Disney Legends plaques. So like Julie Andrews is there, most of the Disney princesses are there, like
Jim
Paige
Henson
O'Hara.
is there.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
a lot of animators. And one of the animators who had been inducted a while ago was there for D23 Expo last weekend, and she's 107 years old.
Yes.
Whoa. How is that possible?
I know.
107, and I'm so glad they got her there. Her name is, I want to say Ruth Brown.
I think Ruth something. Yes.
Yeah.
That's astounding.
Yeah, I wish we could have gotten a picture, but she had handlers all around her.
Ooh, legends receive a Disney Golden Pass, which is a lifetime pass to all the Disney theme parks.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
How quickly
can I be a legend?
Yeah. Well, hey.
Wow.
This has certainly been a lot of fun to look back at everything with D23 with you guys. And, we've been excited to get you on the show for some time now. Taxus and I are both former Skywalkers of the Week and longtime listeners to your all show.
I was the first. I might remind everybody. Very thankful for that, by the way. Still to this day.
Well, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and I remember still to this day, I was on my way home to start my Christmas break and listening to your show in the car, and all of a sudden my Skywalker of the Week moment came on, and I nearly ran into the car in front of me. I was so surprised.
That's awesome.
That was fun.
Yep. We get a lot of those kind of stories that people say, yeah, I heard my Skywalker jingle come on, and those Skywalker of the Week is appointed every single week to the very special Skywalker that will tweet about us or tweet at us or put a nice comment on Facebook. Yeah. Well, then we have our podcast composer write a very nice jingle around your name.
That's Rob Dellinger. John Williams of Star Wars podcasting. Yep, that's right. Yeah, I have mine queued up on my iPhone to wherever I plug it into the car. It's the first thing that plays. And now whenever the kids get in, they all hum along with it. So.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, like I said, it's really been a real privilege having you all on. You guys are, in addition to Skywalking Through Neverland, you're involved in several other podcasts. So can you fill our listeners in on everything that you're up to and where else they can find you?
Sure. So you can find Skywalking Through Neverland at skywalkingthroughneverland.com. And we are also at Skywalking Pod on most social media platforms. And then I also do Fangirls Going Rogue with my fangirl buddies, where we talk Star Wars from the female point of view.
And we also do classic Marvel Star Wars comics. And that's where Sarah and I are joined by Star Wars artist Randy Martinez. And we break down the vintage Star Wars comics from the 70s and 80s and just look at it from all different points of view. I look at it from the vintage era, how I felt when I read these stories at first. And Sarah comes in as a newbie because she's first reading these comics now. And Randy Martinez gives us his artistic point of view. And they've been extremely fun to revisit. And we are trying to make Hoojibs canon. So listening out there, and you love the Hoojibs, which are the little white furry bunnies that were introduced
telepathic
at the latter end of the Star Wars classic Marvel line. We're trying to bring those little bunny creatures into official Star Wars canon. So you got to hashtag make Hoojibs canon and tweet it out to the Star Wars Story Group or the guys over there at Freemaker Adventures, anyone you can.
If your rabbits were telepathic, what would they tell you?
They would tell us,
I want cilantro.
we want our own podcast.
Oh, there's an idea.
It would just sound like this the entire show.
Yeah. Yep. And then I also do a Planet of the Apes podcast with my friend Marco Gushewitz. That's where we talk about Planet of the Apes on TV. The podcast is Talking Apes TV. So we covered the live action TV series of 1974, and we just finished the animated series Return to the Planet of the Apes from 1975. And on our last episode, which is coming out this week, we're going to review War for the Planet of the Apes. So got a lot of podcasting going on over here.
Yeah, once you start, man.
It's an addiction.
It really is.
Yeah. Well, everyone should definitely check out your all show, especially, I guess, 177. Episode 177 is where you start with your own D23 Expo coverage. So, again, thank you so much for joining us.
You are welcome.
Thank you very, very much. But we also got to remind you to never land on Alderaan.
That sounded really fun. Taxus, you also did something really fun last weekend, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. A couple of my friends, Justin and Lord Girthsaber, and I had the opportunity to go catch Galactic Empire live when they came through our town. Yeah. Scoundrels may remember, Galactic Empire is the metal band that really hit the scene by storm with their renditions of the opening music to A New Hope. And then on May 4th of last year, they released the Imperial March, both videos. Since then, they've released a full album, have some of their choice picks, and it was really interesting to get to go see them live. They had a really great stage setup. One of the things I loved about it is in between the songs, it wasn't just song after song. They actually worked in some shtick, and so they had some jokes and stuff that they would tell, like they were going to fire the super laser, and so some of the lights they had for the stage, they changed to be the kind of Kyber green that you would see from the Death Star, and so they started up the firing sequence and had 4 of the lights converge on one spot on the ceiling. And then, of course, the thing malfunctions, and Vader's like, "What's happening?" But this is really an interesting live show. It's great. The costumes, they've modified them to where they have a better range of movement and freedom, and plus don't violate any sort of legal,
no
stuff. Doubt. But and it's wonderful. I mean, especially when you see all 3 of the guitarists lined up in a row, just ripping through the John Williams, little complicated melodies and counter melodies and harmonies and.
Right. Well, you were saying if this is on episode 4 too, for anyone that wants to go back and listen to that one again too, and they were saying how complicated, like when you said complicated, you don't realize everything that's going on orchestrally with all the different pieces, and then they have to try to replicate that in a metal version.
Yeah.
And they do it so well.
Oh, yeah.
And
'cause
I
you
mean,
also
I'm a
have
big
to-
heavy metal fan myself. I mean,
really?
I've been last summer for my birthday, we went to Disturbed and Breaking Benjamin. I mean, that was my birthday present last year.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely appreciate it. And their videos online are great. And they have some shtick on there too, I noticed, with the
moshing
some of the
Wookiee.
things. Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful.
But it was so funny. Somebody in one of the comments put, "It's nice to see that somebody else besides Kylo Ren can slay a Solo."
Oh.
I thought, that's like the perfect
Yes. Great.
Yeah, these guys are really great.
Yes.
They're really talented musicians. Absolutely.
Yeah. If
Now,
you
do
ever,
they have their tour dates online? I'd love to see them live.
I think you can best find their tour dates on their Facebook page.
Okay.
And in fact, I caught up with Chris Kelly and Grant McFarlane, who, as you had mentioned before, were guests on our episode 4. And so go back and check that out, Scoundrels. If you'd like to know what they're all about. We just kind of given them a hand getting all the gear loaded up, but there was a storm coming through. And so they were gracious enough to give me a real quick little catch-up interview. So why don't we listen to what they had to say?
Awesome.
All right, this is Darth Taxus, your humble little Dark Lord stick here. Just got finished rocking out with Galactic Empire, and I gotta tell you, it was so awesome. All right, I'm here with, you want me to say your real name? I'll let you say real names and stage names.
All right, so Chris Kelly, aka Dark Vader.
I'm Grant McFarlane, Boba Fett.
All right, guys, how's the tour been going?
It's awesome. Yeah, it's killer. We're how many days in now? We're like 2 weeks in. Close.
About 2 weeks in, yeah.
Something like that.
It's been
It'll
awesome.
be 2 weeks on Wednesday. Yeah, it's killer.
How's this different than the UK one?
It's hot. Yeah, very
it's
hot.
really hot.
We've only really toured in the winter so far. We're touring in the summer now, and for some reason we're in Texas in July, and it's not to be confused with the band name, but yeah.
It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. Yeah. No, shows have been great. Temperature has not. That's not.
How's the album reception been?
Great. Yeah, I think we did, what was it, like 4,000 first week?
Something like that, yeah.
So, yeah, we did some Billboard charts and some iTunes charts and stuff like that. So, yeah, the reception was very good right out of the gate, so we're happy about that.
Got plans going into the future?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're going to be in Europe in October. We got 10 days there, 3rd through the 13th. And then we are working on a new record. So we're just working on when we're going to be recording that. We're not entirely sure.
That Jar Jar track I asked about a long time ago is going to be on the next record, isn't it?
Which one?
Jar Jar track.
Oh, the Jar Jar track.
I didn't think about that one.
It's okay. Don't do it. So, where are you heading to next?
Houston.
Then after that?
Houston, and then we got a day off. Well, it's on a day off, travel day, and then we got 4 days in Florida. Another great decision for the summer. Yeah.
It's dry. I say it's dry heat. That's not
It's not a dry heat. No, it's like being in somebody's mouth. Disgusting.
Just don't stick your hands in water.
Right.
Okay, that's the thing. It's nobody likes a 1 hour summer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Def Leppard fans do. I apologize. Def
Yeah,
Leppard
not
fans.
exactly the
That's
same
right.
content.
That's as impressive.
I could try. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, it's a great show, guys. I mean, after all, where can people find you again? Just a reminder.
Facebook.com/Galactic Empire Official. Twitter, I think it's Galactic Empire 8. Right?
That's it.
I don't know why it's 8. And then Galactic Empire Official is the Instagram as well.
I know Dennis is upset because he couldn't make it out here tonight and everything, so he sent me out as the emissary.
Sorry,
I was
Dennis.
upset because I could not find that T-shirt of the Star Destroyer pulling the trailer.
Oh, that's the old tour. That's the fake tour shirt. Yeah.
Man, I had everybody tearing my house apart today looking for it.
Wow.
You know, I swear I was digging in dog food for my own dogs. But I got a replacement, and I will find it. Thank you so much, guys. And by the way, this is killer.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's Boba Fett flying at you with a jetpack.
He's coming out of the Starlight.
Yeah, he's coming out of the Starlight.
Yeah.
That's right. You know, I won't even go into that. So that's all right. But guys, have a safe travel. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing. Keep it up.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was great. That was really great of them to give me some time like that. And, I have some live videos that I'll try to get uploaded to the show's YouTube account, but at least they'll be on my account because I might have forgotten the credentials for the show's channel. So, I tried logging on.
Stuff down.
Well, Dennis set that one up, and I was trying to log on. And as you know, he is hip deep in Porg. Porg carcasses right now. So,
Porg steaks, pork kebabs.
Yes, that's right.
All kinds of porgs.
Yeah.
So,
pork loin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tastes like chicken.
Yes, that's right. But just a reminder that Galactic Empire is available on iTunes, and they're still touring, and they mentioned their Facebook page, so that's probably where the best place to go check their dates. And so go check it out and try to see. They've got I know when they release the new album, I'm eagerly anticipating the next choice selections from them.
Great.
And now, the Emperor has something special planned. It is time to finally rid this city of all remaining rebel forces. Can we give the house light sound and just bring it down? Good, that's good, thank you. Now, witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational metal station. Fire at will, Commander. Command, primary agent. Very good, thank you for that status update. Someone use that promotion. Oh, sick. Oh my god, okay, next song, go.
I've always wanted to do this lead-in.
Always?
Well, since I found out I'd be subbing for Dennis, it's time for...
Silence, fools!
Yep, been a lot of nice feedback about the Darth Bane trilogy. Who do we have up first, Taxus?
First, we got Shunsmith at Shunsmith4, and they tweet, "Best trilogy in the expanded universe. Thanks at Drew Carpesian. They should turn this into a graphicaudio.net series." Well, I think they ought to turn this into an entire Netflix series, in my opinion.
Oh, man, that would be amazing.
That would be so good. So good.
Oh, binge watch, here we come. And from Max Salnikov at Word Cowboy, literally the only Star Wars book I've ever read in my life so far. I'd easily recommend it to anyone looking for a sci-fi thriller. Summer read. Totally agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it definitely captivates you, and it's my head canon. I mean, I know Darth Bane is technically canon, the character itself, but I don't know how much these stories hold, truth in the new canon, but it's still canon in my heart and in my head.
And I think he meant like the book series, not just the second book, because that would be kind of weird.
Yeah, it would be.
It'd be
like just, yeah,
right. So next, the amazing and talented and very lovely Sophie Lawrence at Shaw Lawrence 12 tells us, "There can never be enough Darth Bane. Peace is a lie." And she, just a reminder, she did some awesome work for me as my Ray on Less Than 12 Parsecs when I was able to fill in guest host for Tim McMahon. And she was, and she and her husband have a podcast, Bright Tree Radio, that's really, really nice. They had a really great episode that they released about some what ifs, and really had some compelling, interesting thoughts on Qui-Gon and his effects on Anakin. So I recommend all the Scoundrels go check that out. Bright Tree Radio, they're on iTunes. So
definitely, I'll have to look that one up and bookmark that one myself. All right. Well, finally, Hassan Scarborough at Ronan Boba writes, "Thanks for the email read and loving the great Marvin Gaye and Kim Weston outro."
That just fits, rule of two.
Absolutely.
And just a quick little note here. Darth Skedaganga sent us right before that we went to record a wonderful video of Darth Vader versus Buzz Lightyear, and I'll tell you what, this thing blew my socks off. I mean, it's amazing the talent level just fans have you know? And I really recommend people go check that out. I'm sure if you just Google Darth Vader versus Buzz Lightyear, you'll see what happens and exactly how did Buzz Lightyear get to Earth. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird.
Whew, that was one jam-packed episode. Disney is really going all out.
Yeah, I'm glad they aren't being all mousy about it.
Ha! Scoundrels, thank you for your support. If you have enjoyed the show, this has been Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels. And we would love a review wherever you listen to your podcast, especially iTunes. If you didn't care for this, then why are you at the end? In all seriousness, we appreciate it anytime you share our show posts on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks to our dedicated listeners that take the time to share our show with others. We are on social media. Starship Sabers and Scoundrels can be followed on Twitter at SCubedPod and liked on Facebook, where we are facebook.com/SCubedPod. If you want to follow Darth Taxus on Twitter, he is at Darth Taxus. Dennis can be followed at DJKVER2, and I can be followed at Joyce Krebs. In addition to social media, you can reach us by email at scubedpod@retrozap.com. Do you love the Porgs as much as Dennis? Let us know. You too can end up in silent schools. Again, that email address is scubedpod@retrozap.com. Also, check out the RetroZap Facebook group. It's a wonderful place to geek out together.
Just a reminder, we have shirts on TeePublic, and I might be cooking up more with my nefarious designers. Go to TeePublic/user/SCubedPod to check out the designs. As always, we are honored to be part of the RetroZap.com podcast network. Please check out RetroZap for other great shows, including Brews and Blasters, The ArgCast, The Deucecast Movie Show, Dork Lair, Dunecast, Skywalking Through Neverland, Classic Marvel Comics, Talking Apes TV, Techno Retro Dads, We Know Nothing, The Animanicast, Beltway Banthas, The Sandcrawler, and Kanata's Castle.
A special thanks to Aaron Lee for our show logos, and to James Volpe, the Ska Geek, for our The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly show logo.
I'd like to thank Richard and Sarah Wolosky for coming by, and the guys from Galactic Empire for the fun and the time they spent with us. Stay hard, guys. Also, a really special thanks to you, Jay. Thanks for helping us out in our hour of need.
Anytime. I'm glad I could lend a hand to everything that you do.
I see what you did there.
And here is our disclaimer. Starship, Sabers, and Scoundrels is not endorsed, affiliated with, or sponsored by Lucasfilm Limited and or Disney. This show is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. All characters, music, and sounds are the intellectual property of their respective copyright holders. All else is the intellectual property of Starship, Sabers, and Scoundrels unless otherwise indicated. Any final thoughts, Taxus?
Yeah, I have a question for the Scoundrels. In an age where every girl can be a princess, every boy can too.
That's not a question.
If isn't it?
I don't think you understand how English works. That'll do it for episode 24 of Starship, Sabers, and Scoundrels. Always, thanks for listening and joining us this week. We'll catch up with you next time, and may the Force be with you.
Oh, or it isn't.
We are most grateful for your patronage, Tim.